Hi guys, my name is Karthik and I am from easyautomation.com and welcome to another video of our Katalon Studio course. And today we're going to talk about Katalon 7.0, a beta version of Katalon Studio, which has support for Windows application automation, which is really cool. We have been waiting for this support from Katalon Studio, and this is the day which Katalon Studio has revealed in its beta version of its software. So the Windows application automation was something which was missing with Katalon Studio for a pretty long time right now, and Katalon Studio team thought this is the right time by adding the support for Windows application automation as well. And in this video, we are going to be talking about automating the Windows application with Katalon Studio 7.0. Alright, so let's get started. So the objective of this video is to automate the Windows application with Katalon Studio 7 beta version, which is about to release. Of course, currently available as a beta version, so you can try to download it and start using it. There are a few bugs here and there, but it's very easy and you can give a shot and see how the actual software is working. So the objective sounds to be a very simple objective, right? But this brings us to the following topics to be discussed in this particular video. How Katalon Studio supports Windows application automation, which was not a support for a pretty long time right now, and how it's working. And then the settings of Katalon Studio to be done before starting to work with the Windows application automation. And then out-of-the-box features Katalon Studio provides while supporting the Windows application automation. And does that mean no problem anymore with browser pop-up windows, which Selenium does not handle all these days? So we always try to see there are some unwanted windows or some other exception windows happens with the browser, and that window has nothing to do with the application. And in order to handle those Windows-based applications UI, now these things can be easily supported using the Windows application automation support, which Katalon is going to provide. So we don't really have to go with some third-party tool or plugins to handle those situations. Rather, we can directly use the out-of-the-box support of Katalon Studio, which supports the Windows application automation itself. So these are things that we'll be discussing in this particular video. So before jumping into the actual discussion, let's quickly see the architectural change which Katalon Studio has actually brought. Well, the architecture is going to be very simple. As you can see, the Katalon Studio is like a framework of frameworks, or maybe it is a tool which has so many different frameworks within it. And it is now supporting the Windows application automation as well using another tool, which is nothing but WinApp driver. Well, the WinApp driver is an project, or maybe it's a fork of the Appium project, or maybe a branch of the Appium project, which actually supports the Windows application as well. It's pretty much like exactly the same JSON wire protocol which is being used to communicate with the Windows-based application as well, pretty much like Selenium. And the good thing is that WinApp driver is something which helps to identify or recognize the Windows application UI. And this is exactly the same tool which is integrated, or maybe the same library which is integrated within the Katalon Studio. And that's why Katalon Studio team can now achieve the Windows application automation using what is called as a WinApp driver. And then finally, we need to have what is called as our application under test, which can be a Windows-based application. So you don't really have to necessarily have a web application to automate, but this time we can also automate a Windows-based application using this WinApp driver support, which is available within Katalon Studio out of the box. So this is how Katalon Studio could able to work with a Windows-based application. So in order for this particular WinApp driver to work with Katalon Studio as of today, since Katalon Studio is in beta version, the following settings that you need to be doing in Katalon Studio before starting to work with Windows application automation. The first thing is the WinApp driver, which comes bundled with Katalon Studio, but you need to make sure that you install it by yourself. You can either go to the Katalon Studio folder, search for Windows application driver.msi and install that, or you can also go to the tools menu of the application, and from there you can also install the Windows application driver. So you can do this in two different ways. And this is the easiest way that I found, or maybe the most easiest way is you can directly go to the tools menu of the Katalon Studio, and then from there you can install that. That's number one. And the next thing is you need to make sure to start the WinApp driver from your installed location. If you do not do that, you cannot use it with the Katalon Studio as of now. So if you open the Katalon Studio won't run this WinApp driver for you. Rather, you have to start it manually. So if you don't start it, you'll be getting this kind of error that you see in here saying unable to start the application, reason connection refused. So the WinApp driver connection has to be established, which can be established only if you start the WinApp driver from the command prompt. So we'll be discussing about that in this video, so don't worry about it yet. And finally, we need to make sure that you enable the developer mode in your Windows operating system. So this is one of the missing documentation in Katalon Studio's documentation. So probably the team should have added this. If not, everybody's going to be confused. So in our Windows machine, you need to go into the developers menu, and from there you need to enable this developer mode. And only if you enable this developer mode, you could able to run the WinApp driver. And only if you enable this WinApp driver to be executed, you can use the Windows application automation in Katalon Studio. So make sure you have these three settings available. Only then you can start working with the Katalon Studio with Windows application automation. And as that said, here are the features Katalon provides to us. Something like a spy Windows object. Well, again, it's going to be exactly the same spy that we use for web application automation or Appium, Android application automation or iOS application automation. And there is something called as Windows Action Recorder. So this is an action recorder, kind of buggy, but I could see that it is going to be improved a lot in upcoming days. But as of now, it works like a charm. I could able to perform some actions that is available over here in the possible action sections, where you can perform a click, double click, right click, get text, set text, clear text, and close applications, switch to desktop and switch to applications, things of that nature. So we can do all sort of operation from these possible actions. So these are the two out of the box features available within the Katalon Studio's new build, which is available today for download. So here's the code which is going to be generating, and as you can see, there is a new Windows built-in keyword which can help you to start the application, to perform a click, to perform set text and stuff. It's going to be exactly the same thing that you can do with your web application as well. So same look and feel, same ecosystem. And finally, you can see there is this object repository where it has many different properties this time. Well, again, you'll be using few of them, but since this is a Windows application, you can still see there is something called as access keys and coordinates and localized control types and stuff. So you can use any one of them to identify the object while working with Katalon Studio's Windows-based application, while automating the Windows-based application in Katalon Studio. So let's quickly see everything in action and understand how things work. So for that, I'm going to jump to Katalon Studio 7 that I have downloaded in my machine. So I'm just going to go to the C colon of my machine, and I'm going to go to the Katalon Studio. And as you can see over here, so I'm just gonna start that. All right, so as you can see, this is the Katalon Studio 7.0, and you can see there is this release note. And again, I'm not gonna jump into this release note and show you what are the different features the Katalon team has added over here. So rather, I'm directly gonna jump in to the new project, and I'm gonna say automating WinApp. I'm going to select the type as web as of now because there is nothing called as Windows over here. So I'm just going to leave this guy as it is for now. And I'm going to hit OK here so that it's going to create a project for me. There you go. The project has been created. And then I'm going to add a new test case here. Or maybe before adding a test case, you can see that this is the noticeable change that you can see in this particular window of your application, which is the spy Windows object. So once I click the spy window object, you can see that we get this particular window here. It says that configuration as 127.0.0.1, which is my local host, and 4723 is the port number. So you can edit this if you want, but I'm just gonna close this guy as of now. And now if I try to spy maybe the Notepad application, so you can see that I've already tried Notepad automation. That's why this particular path is being pasted here. So now if I try to start this guy, you can see that it is gonna throw me a message here saying the connection has been refused. So you need to somehow start this particular WinApp driver over here to make sure it actually works. So in order for installation, as I said, you can either go to the folder and search for this particular Windows application driver, which is available within the Katalon Studio, and then you can search for WinApp driver. This will lead to the WinApp driver folder, and then from here you can install that. Or the another option is you can go to the tools, go to the Windows, and here is the install WinApp driver. So if you do that, you can see that there is this Windows application driver setup so that you can install this within your machine. And you can see that since it is already installed within my machine, it shows me the repair option. So I don't really have to do that because I already have installation. So I'm just going to close this for now. So this is the first thing that we need to be doing in our installation part. The next thing, as I said, is we need to start this particular WinApp driver. So the WinApp driver is currently installed within my C:, program files. So if I go to the C:, and then program files and Windows application driver. So you can see that I do have this Windows application driver here. So if I just open the command prompt and if I just start the WinApp driver.exe, you can see that I get an error here. It says that the developer mode is not enabled. So enable it through settings and restart the Windows application driver. So this is what I was saying. This is the developer mode that you need to be enabling in your Windows machine so that you can actually enable this particular execution to be started. So for doing that, I'm just going to do this. I'm just going to search for developer mode or developer setting. And from the developer setting, you can see that by default, it is site loaded apps. So I'm just going to choose the developer mode. It's going to ask me turning on developer mode, including installation running app from outside the Microsoft Store could expose your device and personal data to be harmful. So probably it's going to compromise, or maybe just for the recording purpose, I'm just going to be enabling this guy right now. And now if I try to run the WinApp driver, you can see that it is currently executing and it is listening at the port number 127.0.0.1 4723 port. So this is exactly the same port that we just saw while we were doing this particular object spy. So you can see that it is currently working. And now if I hit start, you can see that it is actually working and it's gonna launch the notepad for me behind the scene. So even you can see here, you can see that the WinApp driver is currently running and it has also launched a notepad for me. Oops. Was that there is some exception coming. This is fine, but you can see that it actually brought some sort of spy object over here. So probably I'm just gonna stop this guy, and you can see the notepad had got closed. And now if I try to hit this particular record button, you can see that the recorder has exactly the same option that we just saw in the object spy, but just that it has a possible action screen, which is kind of pretty new. So I'm just going to hit the start once again. You can see that there is this guy coming in. Oops. It says C: Windows system screenshot cannot be created. Oh, it can be maybe because my Katalon Studio, I have not started with the administrator mode, or maybe I need to start this particular WinApp driver in an admin mode. So I'm just going to stop this guy as of now. So I'm just going to go to the WinApp driver and I'm going to open in the admin mode here. And then I'll just start the WinApp driver.exe. There you go. So now it's in admin mode. So probably just going to stop this guy and start it again. Oops, it's not working. So maybe it may be a bug or it may not be a bug. So I'm just going to close the Katalon Studio completely from here. And I'm gonna start the Katalon Studio from an administrator mode so that maybe this issue will be gone. I'm pretty much not sure. It may be an issue because this is a beta version of Katalon Studio. So I'm just going to give it a try second time and I'm going to see how it works. There you go. The project has been loaded. I'm going to close this Katalon help and I'm going to go to the record once again. And let's try to close the notepad, which is already opened. And I'm going to start it once again. There you go. You can see that this time I could able to see there is a screen view coming in for this particular notepad, and the screen objects are coming as well. So you can see this time it has some sort of windows, edit button, scroll bar, and there is some buttons, there is some title bar and menu items and stuff. So these are all coming actually from this particular notepad, and that's why we can actually see there is a screenshot of the notepad as well, which is pretty cool, guys. This is pretty much awesome, like exactly how Katalon Studio's other technology support is available, something like for Android, for iOS, or for web application. This is exactly the same look and feel of Katalon Studio has brought in within the Windows application automation as well, right? So you can see that it says the start application. Let's say if I want to click this particular file menu, so if I click this, you can see it highlights that. And then if I want to perform an action, you cannot directly go here and perform an action. It won't record that. Basically, Katalon Studio has no such stuff over here or control over here within the application. Rather, you have to click this and perform a click operation here. So once you do that, you can see that it actually performs a click and it records that, right? And now if I want to click outside, maybe outside the notepad's window, so I can just click it here and then I perform a click operation so that it clicks outside of this particular notepad menu, which is pretty cool. And now let's say if I want to type some value in this particular text box. So over here, I want to perform some set text. So you can see the same set text, get text of Selenium. That's exactly the same that coming here. So performing and typing operation for the first time via Katalon Studio. And I'm gonna hit apply action. And you can see that once I do that, it actually runs that for me, which is pretty cool. And whatever operations happening over here, you can actually see that from WinApp driver as well over here. So whatever operation that I just performed, it's all coming in over here in the logs behind the scene, right? So let's say if I want to do one more thing, let's say if I just over here, and if I want to maybe get the text, so this is the text that I want. So I can just apply the action so that it's gonna get the text for me over here, and you can see that it has got that value. And now if I just see this particular action, you can see it would have did the exact same thing for me over here behind the scene in the log file of the WinApp driver, right? So now I'm just gonna stop this particular Windows action recorder. So you can see that by the time we were talking about these things, we are also recording the same operation. So I'm just going to stop it, and the object repository has also stored all the values for me. And now I'm just going to hit OK, and I'm going to store within the object repository. And now this will eventually ask me to create a test case basically. So I'm just going to say that as first notepad test. I'm going to hit OK. So that's where it's going to add a test case for me over here. This is exactly the same way that we work with other technologies. And now if I go to the script, you can see that it actually brings this particular operation, like notepad opening and then clicking the menu, clicking the edit, and then entering the value and then getting the text. And now if I try to execute this, how do I execute that? And this is a new option as well, guys. So once I click this, you can see that we now have something called as Windows option here, which is kind of new, which was not there before. So we'll be doing that. So I'm just gonna close the existing notepad, and I'm just gonna keep this guy side by side, just so that you can see how the WinApp driver is actually working over here. And now if I try to run this in Windows, let's open that. you can see that now Katalon Studio should launch the notepad for me. There you go. And you can see that it's doing exactly the same operation that we recorded. On the side, we can also see that the WinApp driver is actually working. So it's basically doing exactly the same JSON wire protocol operation of sending the request and getting the response back from the application, which is why the WinApp driver is kind of very, very famous, and Microsoft is now focusing towards WinApp driver in favor of WinApp driver. Microsoft has also stopped the support of Coder.UI testing, and that's why Coder.UI support is going to be coming to an end in 2019 of Visual Studio, and after Visual Studio 2019 there is no Coder.UI, and that's the reason WinApp driver is kind of very, very popular. And you can see that it's working like a charm in here with the same coding logic that we used with our Selenium, and that's why Katalon Studio team has integrated the powerful feature within its tool. So this is how we can work with WinApp driver and Windows application with Katalon Studio in much easier fashion. So that's it, guys. I'm going to check in this particular code within our GitHub repo, and we'll be extending even more features of WinApp driver along with Katalon Studio, and we'll see how the new features are going to be added and how some of the bugs that we saw, like a few bugs maybe, that is going to be addressed, or maybe how Katalon Studio team are going to add a way to run this particular WinApp driver out of the box while the application is being started or something like that. Those things are going to be coming in upcoming days probably, but we'll be adding new videos on that in this particular course. So once again, thank you very much for watching this video and have a great day.